The crucifixion was political, but the resurrection is about liberation. Happy Easter. My name's Amy, your favorite meteorologist and tarot reader on this app. I grew up in the church. I have since deconstructed religion, but I still vibe with God and Jesus. So I feel like I have a very interesting perspective on some of these things because I grew up not only in a Presbyterian church, but also in a Presbyterian school through ninth grade. And the Presbyterians are the nerds of the Protestants. So let's get into it. So the crucifixion was political. It was literally like the Pharisees and the Sadducees saying, we don't like that guy. We got to put a stop to that. Politically motivated death, right? Yes, that was the earthly motivation, was political retaliation. Of course, the heavenly motivation was a vehicle of salvation for all, which is why the resurrection is all about liberation. That was the moment the Old Testament law became moot and the New Testament law, the law of Christ, took over. So Jesus' life given as the ultimate sacrifice meant we no longer have to offer sacrificial offerings as we did in Old Testament times, right? It basically says, like, salvation is there. It is a gift from God to you. You no longer have to work for salvation. It removes the need to constantly work toward your own salvation, and it frees up all that time to now focus on community. Because the law of Christ was, number one, love God above all. Number two, love your neighbor as yourself. That signals the shift from working so hard on my own salvation to turning my energy to helping my community, to loving my neighbor as I love myself, right? And I guess another layer of symbolism I didn't think there, Old Testament, all that energy put into ourselves. New Testament, putting all that energy into others. Loving our neighbors after Christ's death, just as we loved ourselves prior to Christ's death. Does that make sense? So yeah. So if you're sitting in church today getting some weird, just not feeling connected to the message, hopefully this helps a little more. This is something I've been thinking a whole lot about. I actually have started the process of writing an actual sermon essay book. I don't know what it's going to be, but actually I've been putting my thoughts to paper on a lot of this, on what the law of Christ actually means for modern Christianity and how we are kind of like kicking it in the face by clinging to all this need for, like, all this focus on me. Like, there's so much focus in my experience, because I also, once I became an adult, I went to like a non-denominational, but I think they were aligned with the Assembly of God. I don't know. Regardless, you know, just in all my experience in churches, in the modern church, there's so much focus still on the individual salvation. Baby, that's been taken care of. You just got to say, hey, can I have it? And God gives it to you. You don't have to work for it. It's freely given. That is how it has been established. And I need to go back and look at like the verse references for that, but we'll get there in time. All we're supposed to do as modern Christians is to love God and love our neighbor as ourselves. The sticking point there, we have a whole generation, multiple generations. The modern church does not teach people how to actually love themselves. And that's what I'm wearing my like witchcraft shirt today, which kind of where I had a lot of realizations based on like witchy practices of like what that actually means. So shadow work, let's just start there. Like, shadow work is about exploring your dark side, your innermost parts, which to me, I interpret as all those, okay, my shadow is comprised of things that people judged me on. It's whenever I was a kid and I had such a pure outlook on the world and I was like, oh, I love this. And then someone said, that's wrong. You're not supposed to do that. That became part of my shadow. Personally, a lot of my queer identity was in my shadow, and I had to explore that. My personal political beliefs. I was raised conservative. I was told I was conservative, and I was told this is how you think. Meanwhile, I, all through high school, was like partaking anarchy culture and was like actually into it But there was so much wrapped up in my identity of being conservative that I did not allow myself to actually embrace those things in the way that I now do. That was part of my personal shadow. Being told that I was too fat to be pretty. I never thought I was pretty, and now I have people just like melting over me on the daily, and I'm like, this is wild to me. That was part of my shadow, was my self-image, and accepting that like I'm hot. Like, I just woke up, so if you don't think I am right now, that's on you. But like, the modern church and the way society is in general shoves down so much of those things. It forces you to hide so much of yourself. And that makes, and when you suppress things and hate things about yourself, you're not loving yourself fully. And if we're instructed to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, but we're not fully loving our entire selves, how can we love our neighbor in their entire self, right? So I think it is the Christian duty to do your shadow work, to embrace the things that you've been told are wrong about yourself, to embrace your darker things, integrate those things, become a balanced human being so that you can love your community and your neighbor as you love yourself in the way that Christ told us to. We were instructed by Christ to do this, guys. This is the law of Christ. And that's why I say, like, it's all like, the resurrection is liberation. It was liberation from this constant, persistent drive toward ensuring my own salvation. And it liberated me to love myself, feel complete in myself, accept the gift of salvation from God, and work toward fulfilling the law of Christ to love my neighbor and love my community and to work for the betterment of all. That's what today is about. Today is not just about some man rolling away the stone, walking out, showing off his new piercings to his friends, and then ascending. That's like the physical part of it. But I feel like the church is so concerned with, they know they're going to get more people in seats today. And that's valid. Like, I understand where many of them come from this. They know they're getting more seats filled, so they're going to give a bit fluffier. Because you're also going to have more kids in the audience sitting with families and all that. They're going to give a fluffier message that's just about like, oh, he's risen. He died for our sins. But I think it's so much deeper and so much more impactful, and there's so much more weight to it than we can cover in a Sunday service, an Easter Sunday sunrise service, you know. There's so much weight behind that specific sacrifice. So yeah, as I have the energy, I will be continuing to get these thoughts out onto paper, well, onto some writing media, be it paper or a Google Doc. Because I really feel called to push this message. I've been talking about a lot of these things, and like every day a little something more kind of fits together. Like I literally had a day where I felt a calling to do this kind of stuff. So if you enjoy this lens of, I don't want to say Christianity. See, I no longer strive to be a Christian. I strive to be Christ-like, because I feel like the term Christian has been so warped and is weaponized in our society. That I don't really feel comfortable claiming it. I don't see myself as a Christian. I see myself as a follower of Christ who wants to actually do what I can to be Christ-like every day and to actually fulfill the law of Christ. So if you vibe with that and just want somewhere that understands you, stick around. I have LINKs and the BIO if you want to come join our community on Facebook and follow me other places. I'm going to try to be more consistent about posting there. But yeah, so happy Easter. Happy Liberation Day. Happy Liberation Day, my friends. Yeah, I love you. Goodbye.